Hello there. So my name is Dan and I live in the southeast of the UK and I'm a very keen home gardener. So I've compiled a list of crops and these can be sown and harvested in relatively quick time. So I'm going to read that list out and we can talk a little bit more about certain ones of them. Radishes, 25 days. Salad leaves, 21 days. Carrots, 50 days. Spinach, 37 to 45 days. Komatsuna, 40 days, and this is also said to be drought tolerant. Chard, 55 to 60 days. A first early variety of potato, such as Aran Pilot, can be ready within about 14 weeks. Cucumbers, 55 to 65 days. Now, one has to be careful when planting out cucumbers outside because, yes, okay, you may sow them and bring them on under protection at this time of year, but by the time you plant them out, it's highly likely that frosts, cold weather are still around and these can destroy the plant, okay? So some protection would indeed be needed. Spring onions, 8 weeks. Turnips, 30 to 60 days. Beetroot, 50 days. Kale, 70 to 80 days. Zucchini, 35 days. Once again, zucchini is a variety of courgette, okay, and they are not hardy if planted out where there is still risk of frost. Dwarf beans, 60 days. Now, once again, not hardy. Tomatoes, not hardy. 60 days, a variety such as Sun Gold. Garlic, 90 days. Lamb's lettuce, 4 weeks. Now listen to this one. Landcress can be ready for harvest, although not mature until about 50 days, from 15 to 20 days. So there we go. So there's a list there, and I'm very sure that's not exhaustive. Now, with regards to many of these, you can sow these, you can bring them on in the house, in your flat, your apartment, your room, whatever. Maybe even in your greenhouse or polytunnel if the conditions are correct, and you could sow them right now and then you can plant them out when they're starting to grow on a little bit, okay, and they will still be, they are frost hardy. So things like radishes, carrots, spinach, komatsuna, chard, spring onions, beetroot, kale, garlic, landcress and lamb's lettuce, okay, so you could look into doing those. Now with regards to sowing potatoes, you've got to think, okay, you're going to bury them in the ground or in the pot or whatever and they are going to grow, but when they surface there still may be risk of frost. So what you would do is earth them up, okay, bulk them up with the earth to protect them from the frost, okay. So very intriguing stuff all this. And now watching the news, people are going to the shops, the supermarkets. Thank you so much to everyone who works in those, on the supply chain, on the field, in the supermarket, in the shops, wherever. You're under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. Years ago I used to work in Sainsbury's and I've worked in the co-op as well over Christmas periods and things like that, and I know what it's like when it's really busy, and that's without the the pressures of other things that we've got going on at the moment. So there we go. Now I've spoke very much to people about this 5% goal that I'm aiming for with regards to growing my own food, okay, and I know that not everybody is able to achieve this due to space, health, whatever, but if everybody who can just grew a little bit, I think it would take a lot of pressure off the system, which there could be coming. There's pressure already, but could be a lot more pressure coming in the next few months, okay. So this video is just to speak to people and say, there's so much that you can grow, even if, let's say, you live in an apartment, a flat or whatever, and you've got a few windowsills and you've got some trays or whatever, got some compost and some containers and some seeds, you might feel like having a go at something. Like a good thing to grow would be spinach, because, well, hang on, spinach, komatsuna and chard are great things to grow, okay, because I've noticed that not too many pests attack them, okay, whereas kale is great, but cabbage white butterfly and caterpillars and all that sort of thing, okay, but there's all great stuff on this list, okay, and I've read it out if there's significant interest in this video, which there may or may not be, I will list these at the bottom of the video. But I want to get this video up so that people can see something that they can do to help, because many people are feeling quite sort of powerless at the moment, if you will. But if we can all help just a little bit, make a united effort in this way. There's many other ways to help as well, and people are helping in all sorts of ways, but this is a way that we can also add to that list. So there we go. If there's any comments or questions, whatever, post them down below. I'm not that good at answering questions on YouTube at the moment, but you can fire questions at me on Dan_Home Gardens if you're interested. But quite a list here. Many of the things on this list I've grown myself, and you can find information on my channel if you're interested in how to go about sowing them. A way that I grow a lot of my stuff on initially is in windowsill propagators. Okay, again, I've got them all on my channel. Look at other people's channels as well. They've got so much on there, very useful stuff of what you can do. You can look in books, you can look on the internet, and talk to people as well. Maybe not in too close proximity at the moment, but in terms of over the phone or whatever, something like that. And one thing I would say to people, which could be a very useful thing to do, is if you're fortunate to have anyone who was during the last war, remembers the war, either they were there or as a child or whatever, talk to them about, remember the old Dig for Victory campaign, or read about it, because people did what they had to do in order to feed themselves. So there we go. So if you're living in a flat or an apartment, whatever, and you want to have a go at this, grow some veggies or whatever on your windowsill, if you've got a garden, if you're well enough and able, get out there and grow what you can. If you're a gardener and you're a seasoned gardener, maybe have a look at looking at your and looking in your seed trays for the correct stuff to sow. Before you sow anything, it wouldn't hurt you to have a quick look exactly on how to do it. But I've given you a little list there. So there we go. I hope that's useful, and if you like my work, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and you can check me out on Dan_Home Gardens on Instagram if you're interested. See you next time.